we start. And welcome back from the break. And we are still here on accountability. That is the topic. Our guest today, Salam Musumba. Salam Musumba, one of the founding members, FDC.
Yes.
FDC party.
Yes.
Political activist, quite vocal on a number of issues that are inherent, pertinent within this country and elsewhere. Salam, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, my sister. Good to see you.
It's a delight to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm always happy to share my wealth of experience and expertise that I've acquired over the years.
Surely.
That's the biggest investment that this country has done for me, and it's my responsibility surely to give back.
Just point us in the right direction.
Yeah.
In 2013, Mr. John Mwanga mentioned something, and he said, right now, someone will ask, will it pay? That was the Auditor General then. In fact, May 13th, to be specific, 2013, he said, someone will ask, will it pay? If it will, one will steal. If it won't pay, one will not steal. This is why corruption is right now happening on a grand scale. They must steal enough to stay out of jail. We have been, I had talked about this a little bit earlier and said it is now at grand scale in Uganda. It's grand, yes, it is.
Yes.
It's with a lot of pomp and extravagance, because we have seen it increasing. Right now, almost every institution is, it's literally like every tentacle, whether it's in education, whether it's in health, it's on the increase. Ugandans right now don't know how to attack this. Yes? You have quite a number right now that are saying, you know what, whether I talk, whether I don't talk, nothing will happen. The best thing to do, like one mentioned down on the streets of Kampala, is to say that, bottom line, if they steal, it will come down to me in one way or another. Out of the billions they steal, maybe I will get 100,000 out of it, because they will find me in the marketplace, they will find me in the salon. Is this more or less a sentiment of frustration? Are Ugandans getting more and more dejected, and it is not really the police trying to crack down on them, but they are saying, does it even matter to do anything? What is your insight on the things that have been happening?
It's a big take. What you're describing, good morning out there, all of you that have chosen to hear us and see us. You're describing failure. Without you knowing, you have described failure, and what we're dealing with is failure. Failure of governance, failure of the constitutional order, failure of the executive, of the legislature, of the judiciary, failure par excellence.
Yes.
And so tackling it sounds like it's a undoable thing. It is the easiest thing to do, tackling this failure. In tackling it, you must first know how the machine failed. And I can take you back to where the machine failed. It started in 2000.
In the year 2000?
In the year 2000. From my tracing, that's where we started from. And it started from the vantage point where one of the people that was a freedom fighter, the retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, tells his colleagues that we have lost the course. We are losing the plot. We need to have a discussion. We need to repair. We need to mend. And what was the reaction? Jail him, throw him out. Comrades failed to speak about what took them to the bush. Comrades, where they left bones, dead bodies. You know, that pain of children that had to grow up without parents. They were orphans. They were sick. They had caught AIDS in the war, you know. They had become, their lives had been vandalized. You had kid soldiers, you know. They were called who?
Kadogos.
Kadogos. I mean, that entire human waste that came out of the war, when a comrade calls them to order and they say, no, you are the wrong one. So they move on. Nobody can stop them. Nobody can warn them that, guys, all the safeguards have been taken off. And so we come to 2004. We vandalized the Constitution. We changed the term limits. Just that mere act set everything in motion of what we see today. And we've been living in denial. All this time we've been living in denial. Our voices have run hoarse, telling Ugandans, including you and your fathers and your grandfathers, this thing didn't start with you, it started with your grandfathers.
Way before.
And so it is failure. And now it is cumulative failure that is inevitably has cracked this government. I mean, it is unfathomable how this stealing has been allowed to happen. Allowed. For a time, they thought that they could use it against, they could allow certain tribes to steal and dominate other tribes. Sections of society would steal to impose their will on other sections of society. It failed. Look at, if you look in history, look at how big empires failed. The British Empire. I mean, who are these gun-wielding idiots on the street compared to the muscle of the British Empire, to the Roman Empire, to the Tsars of the USSR? And who are they? You guys out there, who are you? You are just nothing. Proper nothing. Mediocrity at their best.
Who is nothing? The people?
The soldiers.
The soldiers.
With their wielding guns. I mean, the biggest flower on the road now are guns. I am driving, observing, and wondering where they think an AK-47 can take them.
It has power.
Where?
It has power.
No, it has only destruction.
To the average
It only
Ugandan.
has destruction. The average Ugandan is sick and tired. Even the AK-47 that we glorified after the liberators arrived is gone. There's shredded. There's nothing left of the 1986 war. Nothing. Total bullshit.
It is a total different thing. As
it was hijacked. It was hijacked. And you see, people must be reminded that this country doesn't belong to President Museveni. It's not his.
It's ours.
It's ours. It's God's. It's not his. That is not the President Museveni that arrived here on 25th January 1986. No. So you must reflect on these things and allow yourself to be just a basic human being, working in the best interest of the country and of posterity. What will happen to Uganda in the next 2 years? Because Tinyefuza, General Tinyefuza, was candid enough, was bold enough to tell his colleague, President Museveni, that look, they are ghost soldiers. We can't have an army of ghosts. When we are attacked, we will not know our strength. What happened to him? He was picked. He had reduced to rubble, human rubble. Now, if you take out all your intelligent fellows from your team,
what are you left with?
and you replace them with mediocres, what do you get? This is what you get. What we are getting today is a sum total of the cumulative failure of all these years, since 2000. Other failures could be covered up because the rest of society was still thriving. I mean, we had our coffee, we had our sugar cane, we had our bananas and maize. And we were dealing with other sorts of security, but not food security, not human security. Now, that has all been eroded over the years. It has, the production base has been eroded by corruption. The appetite for corruption has increased. The corruption that has permeated into society and permeated into households
is now normal.
Unbelievable. But for me, the worst, the straw that has broken my back in corruption is the budget corruption.
The budget corruption.
The budget.
But before we get to the budget, let's just break it down. Salam, me and you mentioned accountability, you mentioned individual responsibility. Yeah. Where have we failed this, me and you?
One, you have failed to speak about things at the right time. We all, I'll tell you. We entered parliament as young girls, as young people. The way young people here too are trying. We were young, versatile young people who had sworn. We came from different addresses, but each of us arrived in parliament to do their duty to the nation. And it's like when we arrived, we had all said, never again will Uganda go through the turmoil we have faced growing up. Never again will we allow one person to determine the path, the political path of the nation. Never again will we allow this country to degenerate.
As we watch on.
As we watch, under our watch, never again. And so we said, we will give our best. And you know, we had the privilege as the first parliament of, under the new constitution, the 1995, to give effect, to implement the new constitution to the widest latitude, to interpret it and use it in the best interest. There were so many things. One, the first thing was that in the past, a government would just borrow money.
Just anyhow.
Just like that. Here, they said, no, you can't borrow money without the consent of Parliament. And therefore, by extension, by the permission of the people.
Yeah.
So we knew that we had fixed that. The first loan that was brought by the Honorable Basoga Nsadu was to borrow money for vegetable oil, the vegetable oil, under IFAD, under BIDCO, and all those things. We threw it out. And they were in shock. They were in shock. They said, how can you throw it out? We said, because we have thrown it out. Go back and work it out better. And so we set in trend and in pattern a mechanism. And we were learning from the best people. Yeah. A mechanism of due diligence.
They wouldn't do anything, they just wanted to.
And we would all be part of the decision making. Now, we became radicalized, polarized, out of a group of people seeking to overpower everybody else. I do remember I was in a caucus because I was a movement person, not an RM, but a movement. We said we want to set up a caucus to have a collective voice. And so that movement caucus, where I was, we decided that no minister would be part of the leadership of that caucus. And so we threw out every minister because the Honorable Mama Mbabazi had wanted to be to take lead and said, no, sir, you have enough space in cabinet, you have enough space there. Allow us this space to churn out ideas, churn out policy views, because we wanted a policy platform in which we discussed things. I mean, we were sharp, we were coming from all sorts of universities. People were coming, I was coming from Nottingham University, others were coming from Papua New Guinea, So we threw them out and we elected the Honorable Gilbert Bukenya to lead us. And that's where Gilbert Bukenya's political footprint started. The rest you know. We built the energy, the impetus, the zeal within the caucus that we became a threat. Now they sought to grab
to dilute that power,
to grab the caucus, and so they made Honorable Gilbert Bukenya a minister. They picked people from there and made them ministers. So we closed the gap still. But we said for our own safeguard, let's have another platform, the Young Parliamentary Association. Young meaning you are new in this politics and you are young in age, because we were really young at that time, 30 was the average age. And so Young Parliamentary Association became another platform in which, if the caucus wasn't working, because the caucus was movement people, the Young Parliamentarian had others who did not subscribe to the movement. So those two platforms, we used them to churn out ideas and to give confidence to the country that, listen, we have a new constitutional order made by us, for us. Let's use it. Now, still, they invaded our platform of Young Parliamentary Association. And you'll hear the president lament, oh, young parliamentarians. Because, you see, we said we must be a voice for the good. Now, the executive did not know how to use this energy. And so they started clamping us down, And a good leader would be to build that momentum, to build that pool of leaders. The next thing we had was that there was a hit list. They were going to hit us and stop us from coming to Parliament again. Because in that Parliament, we would scrutinize all the policies, we would realign the way the executive works, we would advise. We really weren't enemies, but we were looked at as enemies. And so that opportunity was lost by the one and only person who has remained the president. Okay?
Yeah.
Because as an executive power person, he needed to harvest this energy, this zeal, I mean, we had energy. We still
This
have
passion.
it. This passion we had for our country. He needed only to harvest it and use it for the good of the country. Instead, he did the reverse and tackled us. I remember, all of you should go back and read Vudagali, that dam. It was, and UCB, I can pick out things for you. The sale of Uganda Commercial Bank. We said, please don't sell our bank. This is all we have. There's no country without a financial anchor. You know, we went up all our way. They bought it backstage. We caught them. They brought it back, but they were hell-bent. Now today, if you do a post-mortem, who bought Stanbic Bank? So who bought the Uganda Commercial Bank? It was Stanbic Bank. Stanbic from South Africa. And if you look at the directors of that, you will find one very curious name. I will tell it to you off air. Curious name. That curious name is the agent, the agent, the economic hitman, the agent of the people who have now captured the economy. Now, we went to Vudagali. We said, listen, electricity is the engine of, cheap electricity is the engine of industrialization, of growth. Please, do not give it away for a song. So, it was the first private power purchase agreement that we had to deal with. And so we read it. We gave one of us a legal brain, the Honorable Dan Wanderogalo. We said, read it. He read an encyclopedia, and he came back and gave us a report, because we were building expertise amongst ourselves. Our league experts were Ben Wacha, Dan Ogalo, and Adolf Mwesige. And so they read the thing, and they come back and say, guys, we are cooked. They have even determined if the level of water goes down, we pay. We are not in charge of the water. We cannot take on such a liability. Now, that entire intellectual power at the disposal of President Museveni for all those years was viewed
As a threat.
as a threat and classified as enemy. This is what we are dealing with today. Finance.
Anyone
Okay.
who comes up.
Everybody knows that we do not have a bank of our own as a country. We have Centenary Bank, yes, but that's a Catholic Church thing, okay? Kenya Commercial Bank did not close shop. And this is what we were telling our president, because we love this country too, and we have the intellectual capability to work out things. I had been in the UK, during the time they were privatizing their rails, their water, their what. And I knew what, if privatization was failing for UK, the way we were doing it here was going to kill us. And so I was so vocal. And I remember the last time I got so angry, internet had just come and emails had just come. So they told me, one time I was told by Isaac Musoma that he had been accosted, that his wife, who was a member of parliament from Bugabula County South, had written to World Bank to stop Budagal. I said, this is foolish, sir. Go tell them that they're foolish. One, in the software world, in the internet world, there's no Chiro Chitwalo Munako. Because they were creating a Chiro Chitwalo Munako that I and Ken Luchamzi and Kazora had written. I said, this is foolish, my friend. Go tell them that in the internet world, there's no Chiro Chitwalo Munako. And the four of us cannot be more powerful than you, the state, that we can stop a project of the World Bank by a mere letter. It can only be an institution called Parliament, or a better organized institution. And so we are coming from such
A history
a
such as
history
that.
of ignorance, a history of patchwork, a history of lack of analysis of the immediate, long-term, and the consequences of what we are doing and saying, and what we are not doing. So we became a country of not doing.
Actually, subsequent parliamentarians have been criticized for being a yes parliament, yes parliaments. Whatever comes in.
They are not even,
Actually,
even
most-
yes,
some of them
yes
even-
to a
not
good
even
thing.
yes,
Listen to my
yes.
sister. Yes to a good thing would not be the problem. But lack of scrutiny before you give your endorsement, lack of scrutiny, lack of analysis. These parliaments no longer look for expert knowledge. Because in parliament you can't know everything. Where did you learn it from? So you need panels of experts to help you do the analysis. When they employ researchers, they employ kids from university. I mean, what do they know? You will go to the House of Commons, you will find that the researchers are the kind of the Honorable Augustine Ruzindana. Because that parliament is looking for assistance and knowledge to build a country, not to pass time. Our parliaments are passing time. They are going through their term. And they are going down with the country.
What can be changed by people such as myself and the person watching right there? Because the person watching right there is getting out of steam, tired, and saying, there's nothing much I can do.
Let that person die. Go to hell. Just go to hell. Actually, that person who is tired, pick rat poison, drink, because you are worthless. They are not worth my time. I mean, you went to school to do what? To become what?
What is that person out there supposed to do?
I'm supposed to be an activist, a full-time activist, because we are talking about your life. Politics is economics. Politics is life. I mean, the guy who will shoot you at your gate, it's because the politician has failed you. I mean, you can't be a a government that over the years, the biggest seed you've grown is thuggery, mediocrity, robbery. You can't be that. And listen, when we speak, people keep asking me, what do you want? I say, I want nothing but to live in a country that I love, and I wake up and smile and take a walk with my dog. That's all I want. I want nothing else. I want to know that I will not be getting colds every morning, stress colds, because they pass on the stress to me. Oh, so-and-so is sick. So-and-so needs a transfusion. So-and-so there's no ambulance. So-and-so. I mean, I don't live my life. I live other people's lives. They cry to me every day. They don't have school fees. I mean, if their pain was not contagious, I would be fine. I wouldn't waste my time because I can take care of myself. But I have others. I'm not alone in the community. I go to other jurisdictions. I go to the US. I go where, and I find people that have organized their community, their society. I have wanted and I still want to be part of the team that organizes a society in which all of us thrive. That's why I wake up every morning together with my colleagues and say, what do? We can't let this happen while we are watching. We do something about it. Now you are out there sitting, wanting, bomb, disappointed. With who? You are disappointed with who? Me. Please shut up. Pick yourself up like I've picked myself up and be part of the change you would desire to see.
The person there is not interested. There is that one person
who is, hell. Don't waste my time with people who are not interested.
He's saying they're not interested in martyrdom.
Yeah.
They're not interested in martyrdom, but they would want something.
I'll tell you a story. Different. When I was chair of Kamuli district, as I was organizing the health infrastructure in the district and making sure that there is blood transfusion in every health center I told my chief administrative officer, I said, listen, we must do this even from a selfish point of view. If I fainted today in office, where will I be taken? Will I be taken in a public hospital or in a private hospital? If they take me to a private hospital, it means I have failed. I should be able to go to the public hospital, which I have organized, which I have.
You know you'll be able to access.
I will be able to get VIP treatment in the hospital in the district where I am the chair. So, my chief administrative officer one day gets an accident. And what happened? It is the vehicles, the sugarcane vehicles that he bumped into. But while I was there, I gave an order. I think I'll call it an executive order. I said, no truck moves past 7 p.m. No truck, sugarcane truck, moves past 7 p.m. because they don't have lights, they don't have reflectors. I said none. And should a sugarcane vehicle ram into a human being, human beings, you are free to burn it and get it off. And it happened. Now, what happened to my chief administrative officer when he got an accident? When he was taken to our hospital, Kamali Hospital, they call it Mulago. The guy who administered the drip, the fluids, was the gate man. There was no staff. The gate man. So, when he recovered, I said, do you see what I told you? And that happened to you as the chief administrative officer. Do you know what they call chief? You're the guy who receives the funds with me, who should be directing how our society, in our best interest. One day, they stole machines, equipment from the hospital. They even went with the solar panel. And one of the senior nursing officers got sick. She died on the table in the theater. And when I went for burial, I told them, I said, I told you guys, until it happens to you. This is too painful, but you too are not immune. And this is the Uganda you're telling me that others are not interested. Which other country do you have? Which other country do you have?
And on that wave, give us...
And which country will you live in?
3 things.
Which is not home?
3 things.
Yeah.
Really. 3 things that should be done, that me and that person should be doing right now.
The first thing,
in the wake of all this,
please make sure you don't pick your leaders from the streets. Don't. Do a due diligence and get yourself good leaders. Viable, diligent. Be part of the political process to heal this country. Don't just sit out there watching Uganda on TV.
be part and parcel.
Be part of Uganda, because you're part of Uganda. All these troubles that will befall us, you see how Kenya refers to us. They laugh at us. When they laugh at us, they laugh at you and me. Who will carry a passport of Uganda? You see, people have put themselves in high class. Have you ever seen Puss in Boots? A cat walking in boots. It is tempted to think that they are not cats, that now they've become human beings.
They've been elevated
This
to
is
another...
where this elite class, they look like Puss in Boots. You are not.
You're still a pussycat.
You're still a pussycat. Get off that. People actually think that some of us are stranded. We are professionals. My sister, I'm a professional.
I don't
so many
deny that.
degrees. I come into politics to be part of the process that betters our country. Because our country can be better if you choose to.
Number
It is
2.
people who have disengaged. Number 2, many people live simply. I want you to live simply. Many people have accumulated clutter on themselves, and they think that is wealth. The wealth that we share is the public wealth. Good. Good. What you have accumulated in your home and closed with a gate is just clutter. Ask me, how many suitcases do I have of clothes that I'll never wear? Why do I need them? Why?
That's clutter.
Clutter.
The houses,
And
the mansions.
the houses, the mansions. I mean, you have a village house looking like a palace in which you can never sleep for a month.
That are built day and night.
I mean,
that is clutter.
Clutter. There's simply too much clutter. And that clutter, the material clutter, gets into intellectual clutter. I look at people stealing money and I say, what for? Why are you stealing money in this magnitude?
For the clutter.
Clutter. I mean, you steal this year, you steal next year, you steal for 40 years. 40! People have money, have vaults in their homes. That money you are holding is depriving young people of a good education. And you are setting up the army that is going to destroy what you have built. Clutter.
Number 3.
Number 3 is that do your part. You see, the failure we are describing has permeated into the religious institutions. Because you see, society is structured in a way with stratified. There are things that bind together to make a society healthy. That first thing that makes a society healthy is family. The family must be healthy. But how can a family be healthy when the breadwinner is insecure? They don't know what they'll eat tomorrow. They can't take charge of their homes. Then you go into the societal structure. The body that is government feeding the body, then you feed the soul. That is the religious, the spirituality. You feed the soul.
Yes.
And then you feed the ego, which is psychological, and that is mostly in the area of cultural leaders, of the culture. That gives you identity, that gives you pride.
Is who we are.
I mean, this is we, Mutulabie, Mumboine, Wandeva, Ninye. So, those are also unhealthy. I go to church and I wonder, am I at a public rally? Because the tone is now like a politician. You know, we have infected every aspect of life. Once that area of spirituality is healthy, I mean, then you have a healthy society. Now, in the other one, but the level, the health status of all these institutions that hold society together are in conflict with themselves, are in conflict with, because they serve the same community. Each is not doing their part, okay?
Yeah.
The other is the conscience of the board, of the society, that's the religious. Then you have the ego, that is the identity of society.
The cultural leaders.
Yes. But now they've all been fused into this mega failure of a society. I mean, how does a society crumble to this extent that judges start asking themselves, where are we going? I made them someplace and say, don't even ask where we are going. Ask your part in getting Uganda to this point. Because you have played a big part judicially. You have just been too ugly. You have played a very big part in damaging this society. Let's go back to the elections, for instance. When Dr. Besigye went to court, twice they were never nullified, but they all agreed that this election is not the kind that had been provided for in the Constitution. Benjamin Odoki, you are guilty as accused, because he was the Chief Justice.
In other words, each particular person right now has a role to play. Let me recap.
Yeah.
Let me recap on what Salama said. Choose your leaders widely. Choose very wisely.
Yes.
It is not about
if people can't even lead themselves, how can you ask them to lead you? I mean, it's very, very...
Choose your leaders wisely. Declutter, number 2. It is not about the mansions and all these things that you're building day and night. At the end of the day, it will not back you up, because the roads that you're moving on are in a sorry state. The health system is sorry state. It is not sustainable.
No. And even you are grooming the enemy that's going to destroy you.
It will still come back to
if you come back to you.
You can't sleep in those mansions peacefully.
We will not allow you to.
Number 3, and to crown it off as we finish up this. Number 3, we must ensure that all these different facets of who we are, the legal system, the cultural system, the physical system, the government that gets to nourish us and put all these things in place, as well as the family and spiritual.
The family.
Are all in tune on one word. That means by the time you're going out to attend that sermon, they should be preaching against all these vices.
Yes.
The cultural leader that is talking to you should be preaching against this as well, because that is your identity.
Yes.
Come down to...
Don't allow Basogas to be thieves. Now we know which tribe is most thief.
All tribes are thieves.
No.
All tribes are
thieves.
We have
profiled them.
Which tribe takes the most?
The Banyankole.
Isn't that tribalism? All tribes are part and parcel of this.
All
the commissioners, the members of parliament.
I can tell you. And let me tell you, the Banyankole are such a good tribe. They were going to succeed. They were already successful, even before President Museveni became president.
I believe all of us.
The culture of Abanyankole, you know, Ruhanga Simwe.
all of us
when they are going to steal a nation.
We must stop this. We must stop this on this space. If not, all tribes right now, parcel in Uganda, part and parcel of this campaign to ensure that we correct this
yourself
system.
first.
Please
please know your part.
And you know your part as well. Get onto our social media pages and let us know what you think about this topic. What is your part as well? Please ruminate on this. This is food for thought. Thank you so much for joining us, Salam. It's always a pleasure having you. And meet us tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye.